So 2 years ago, I came up here and I gave a talk on how to play Scrabble using some underhanded tricks. And, well, most Ignite speakers don't get hate mail, and yet here I am. Most of my hate mail I just generally ignored, except one day in my inbox, some guy said, "Hyper-competitive sociopathic nutjobs like you ruin board gaming." And I was really offended by this, because hyper-competitive sociopathic nutjobs actually make gaming great. And you'll find that when you make your games more hostile, more evil, you'll have a lot more fun, and so will your friends. Now, you shouldn't throw out the rule book. Rules are important. Rules provide structure and control to your game, but they don't provide a lot of fun. No one says, "Oh, you got to come and try this game." It's got a 35-page rule book. Rules aren't the source of the fun, and if the game isn't fun enough, then you should alter the rules. Think of the game as like a platform, and think of the rules as polite suggestions on how you should play, and you shouldn't feel beholden to it. Now, one thing that really kills games are slow players, people who take 20 plus minutes when it's their turn. I hate these people, but they're not stupid most of the time. They're just suffering from analysis paralysis. You can be polite to them, or you can be a jerk, and you really should be a jerk. And really, you want to be a structured jerk. You want to put everyone on a clock, literally. Tell everyone you have exactly 2 minutes to play. You will stress them out, and it will make the game more dramatic and therefore better. And if you have a chess clock, you can beat the chess clock when it's not your turn anymore. It's really satisfying. Now, if you're a conventional board gamer and it gets to the point where you're not winning the game, you're not going to have that much fun because you're playing to win. But if you're a sociopathic board gamer, your secondary objective is to screw over other people as much as possible. And you can still do that. And in fact, you can screw over people even better in this situation because you're not worried about winning. You can get creative about how you screw over people. And you have a moral obligation to screw over people, I feel, as part of the social compact of competitive board gaming. If you can't figure out who you should go after, you should go after the leader. Generally speaking, the leader's life should be absolutely miserable. They should regret ever being in front until it's like the very end of the game. A good game will have a lot of lead changes. So when you play this way, it's a win-win situation, unless you lose. And the other thing you can try is making up a shoot the moon strategy. And if you've played Hearts, you're familiar with the concept, but the term shooting the moon can be generalized here. Shooting the moon means doing any kind of risky activity that hurts one individual player, but you got to do it over and over and over again, and then you instantly win the whole game. It should only be done in desperate situations of you, like, not winning. And most games don't have a shoot the moon strategy, so you get to make one up. I've played a variation of Monopoly where you can trigger a communist revolution by repeatedly going bankrupt. I've also played Disney Princess Uno, which is fucking hardcore, because there's a card hoarding strategy where you can force someone to draw the entire deck. Board games generally reward a small set of skills, and frankly, these skills suck. They're not no one looks forward to managing limited resources. You want your game to reward hostile tactics and underhanded play. You want them to reward guile. And if you have a game with a lot of cooperation, you should introduce a traitor mechanic, or you should make it your job as a player to break up every alliance as possible. And the more you do this, the more you'll start to see a metagame evolve. Metagames make board games really great. Metagames keep people coming back for more. When you have a good metagame, the pieces on the board just become like manifestations of everyone's hostility and hatred towards each other. It's great. It's absolutely great. So now with this in mind, what is the ultimate board game? No, it is not Scrabble. It really hurts me to say this. It's actually a variant of Scrabble called Clabbers. And as you can tell from the name, Clabbers is Scrabble with anagrams. So you put down tiles on the board. They don't have to spell a word. They just have to anagram to a word. That's what a Clabbers board looks like. So it's not uncommon to get more than 700 points in a game. It's not uncommon to get more than 100 points in a single turn, which is great if you've fallen behind because you can easily get back into the lead. But really what makes Clabbers so great is just the utter bullshit. So you're under no obligation to say what the word is. Like, I just put 14 tiles down, and yeah, that's a word. What you going to do about it? Of course, your opponent can actually call your bluff. Your opponent has 15 seconds to call your bluff and say, "Oh, that's not a word." And now you have 15 seconds to try and unscramble that word and see if that actually comes out into anything. And what do you know? Sometimes you actually outbluff yourself, and it does come into something. And you know, it's moments like these, it's these high-intensity moments of drama and hatred. This is why we board game. I really think that board games should be the one place where it's socially acceptable to be a complete asshole to your fellow man. And I feel like if we were meaner to each other in our board games, we'd be nicer to each other in real life. Probably not, actually, but it's worth a try, and we'll at least get some good gaming out of it. So, happy gaming to everyone. Thanks a lot.